Welcome to the VETS26 Conference Readiness Training Series, sponsored by DuraBante. I'm Lauren Masters, the Special Events Director for NVSBC. Today, we're joined by Joe Alvarez and Scott Thompson from DuraBante, who will share practical insights to help you prepare for and maximize your experience at VETS26. So I'll turn it over to you, Joe, for a quick introduction to get us started.
Hello, I'm Joe Alvarez. I'm the Director of Client Engagement here at DuraBante, and this will be my second year attending VETS.
Thank you, Joe. Over to you, Scott.
Hi, thank you, Lauren, for doing this. My name is Scott Thompson. I'm founder and CEO of DuraBante, where we help keep operational problems from becoming executive problems.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for the introduction. And as a second timer at Joe, I think at VETS Joe, I think that this webinar is a great fit for you to kind of help us take the lead here. And as a seasoned pro at the VETS conference, Scott, I'll let you jump in as well with some experience. So without further ado, let's get started here. I'll kick it over to you, Joe. So with so many attendees representing many different businesses and industries, how would somebody know who to strike up a conversation with?
I would start with your goals. So before you even walk into the event, think about who you're trying to meet. Are you looking for agency contracts, prime contractors, teaming partners, mentors, or other small businesses that are going through the same process as you? Once you know that, the event becomes a lot less overwhelming. Use the attendee list, company names, ribbons, or the booth descriptions to help identify the people who may align with your goals. I would also say don't overthink it. VETS is a very approachable event, and sometimes the best conversations just happen naturally. A simple introduction goes a long way. The goal is not to pitch everyone. The goal is to start a conversation and see where there may be alignment.
So let me jump in. I think that was a great and pretty complete response, Joe. I think from my perspective, it's about relationships. And so by setting the expectation that, or kind of the guiding principle, if you will, if I can get establish one relationship a day, that puts you on a path. Now, you're not gonna necessarily, get a bunch of relationships started, but if you can get one a day over the long term, that's a fantastic path to a great career and building your business.
Awesome. Thank you so much for kind of the personal experience there, as well as some best practices. And I just want to add a little bit of detail as well as far as the ribbons that Joe mentioned. They're a quick way to identify who's at the conference. They highlight roles such as a first-time attendee, a speaker, sponsor, government attendee, or board member. So they're a great conversation starter and help you quickly identify people who you may want to prioritize connecting with. And new this year, we're also adding industry ribbons. So that can be an additional way to identify someone who's in your industry that you might want to connect with. So just a quick little background on what those ribbons are. So Joe, when should folks prioritize visiting the exhibit hall? It's open a lot during the conference, but what do you see as kind of the best time to make your way down there?
I would say get there as early as possible, but most importantly, do your research before you arrive. The exhibit hall can be one of the most valuable parts of VETS, but you do not want to just walk in and wander without a plan. Identify in advance the companies, organizations, agencies, primes, and partners you want to meet with. I would also prepare both your questions and your responses. Think about what you want to ask them, but also be ready to explain who you are, what your company does, and what kind of relationship you're trying to build. Before each conversation, set a simple goal by asking yourself, are you looking to be a subcontractor? Are you trying to meet a contracting officer? Are you looking for a teaming partner? Are you simply trying to establish a relationship for the future? I still plan to spend dedicated time in the exhibit hall during the scheduled hours, especially during networking breakouts and receptions. That is when booths are usually fully staffed and engagement is the highest. If you can, go more than once, early to scout the room and identify who you want to talk to, and later for deeper and more intentional conversations. The biggest thing is to treat the exhibit hall like part of your business development plan, not just something to walk through between sessions. A little preparation makes those conversations much more productive.
Wow, I can't say anything more to that. That's a great feedback. I think one of the things that's important to remember, everybody's there for the same reason. So that you shouldn't have any kind of, you know, resistance or any kind of fear of going in and just talking to folks. I think a lot of times we sit there and we go, I'm not very outgoing, so I don't know if I can go up and talk to this person. But everybody's there for the same reason, to kind of develop relationships and potentially business.
That's always a good reminder. Thank you for that too, Scott. And as Joe said, the exhibit hall is a very packed place. We have over 200 exhibitors that will be there, so make sure you do your prior research and identify your top priorities that you want to connect with, because it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first enter that exhibit hall. Similarly, we're on track to have close to 2,000 attendees this year. So, Joe, what do you think is the best way to make use of that attendee list that is available to our attendees before the conference?
I would think of the attendee list as your pre-event networking roadmap. The easiest way to use it is to break it into 3 groups. Must meet people, people who you would like to meet if the opportunity comes up, and people you may want to follow up with after the event. That keeps it from feeling very overwhelming, because it's great to hear that we have so many people coming. Before the event, I would pick a small number of people or companies and send a simple message. It does not need to be a long sales pitch. Just say you saw that they will be at VETS, you would enjoy connecting, and ask if they have a few minutes during the event to meet. Then after the event, use the attendee list again. Follow up with the people you met and even people you did not get a chance to meet. The key is to make your follow-up personal. Mention where you met, what you talked about, and why you wanted to connect.
I think one of the things that's getting back to the ribbons you spoke about earlier, Lauren, if you can identify board members, there's approximately 12 of us wondering, and if you can connect with one of us during your time, they'll help steer you in direction so you can ask questions and those kinds of things. So remember, they're your board members, and they're there to serve and to help. So when you see that ribbon, don't be hesitant to come and chat with us.
Definitely. Thank you for that, Scott. And as Scott hinted at, he is one of our board members, so I know he'd be more than willing to help point you in a direction or start a conversation with you and provide any additional recommendations. Our board members are always willing to help out our constituents and attendees, so thank you for that helpful reminder, Scott. Kind of turning back to the exhibit hall and booths, if someone is manning their exhibit booth during sessions, are they allowed to leave the booth empty if they want to attend those sessions? What's kind of the best practice there, Joe?
I would try not to leave the booth empty during exhibit hall hours. Your booth is basically your storefront during the conference. If someone walks by and no one is there, that may have been your one opportunity to meet that person. That said, I completely understand that there are sessions people really want to attend. The biggest thing you can do is plan ahead. Before the conference, look at the agenda with your team and identify the sessions that are most important. Then build a simple booth coverage schedule around those sessions. If 2 people want to attend the same session, decide who has the higher priority to go, or see if another teammate can cover the booth. Outside of dedicated exhibit hall hours, there may be more flexibility, but during booth time, I would make staffing the booth a priority, because there's a lot of the relationship building that happens there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. An empty booth kind of sends an unintended message. It sends, that we're not open to have conversations. And while it's important, and sometimes smaller organizations don't have the staff to be able to man it at all the time. But if that's the case, try to minimize it.
I think that's very helpful advice. And it just goes back to that prior planning as well. Like you both have mentioned, coming up with that plan with your team internally to know who's going to prioritize the booth and who's going to prioritize the sessions. It goes a long way so you're not scrambling on site. So I think that's really helpful advice. So for somebody that might have just registered, um, they feel like they're late to the game. How would you let them know to best prepare with, so little time left before the conference?
First, I would say you are not behind. You can still get a lot of value from vets even if you registered late. You just need to keep your preparation simple. If you only have a short amount of time, focus on 3 things. First, review the agenda and pick your must-attend sessions. Second, scan the attendee list and identify a handful of people or companies you want to meet. Third, prepare a quick introduction about yourself, your company, and what you're hoping to get out of the event. Your intro does not need to be complicated. Just be able to answer who you are, what does your company do, who do you help, and what kind of connections are you hoping to make. Even a little preparation goes a long way. The biggest thing is to show up with some direction, be open to conversation, and follow up with people after the event.
I totally agree. One of the unique things about NVSBC and the VETS conference is that veterans mean business. We definitely come prepared to have conversations about your business, our business, and the government folks that are there. They want to talk to you. So having been in this world for the last 20 plus years, lots of other events don't have that same kind of atmosphere. So whether you've been coming from year over year, or if you're just joining us as you mentioned and kind of quote unquote late to the game, you're gonna do well at VETS because of the general attitude and atmosphere that VETS is. So come prepared and be ready to do business.
Awesome. Thank you both. And are there any last minute words of advice before we wrap up here today for either our first time attendees or those who may be returning, but it's a new location this year, so lots of changes?
So I would jump in and say this: you're going to get out of it what you put into it, and be prepared, to put the work in. So don't come and just attend one or two things and then kind of take off. Come in, stay, participate, and work the floor the whole time, and it'll be worth all of the time and effort you put into it.
And I think I could jump in here too as well. And for the first timers who I know when you go in there for the first time to VETS, it's very overwhelming and you think there's a lot of pressure on there. You have a ton of great people around there and that are involved with NVSBC and the people that are attending. They just want to talk. Be willing to just have conversation and don't put a lot of stress on yourself that everything has to be perfect. You have a lot of great people in the room.
Really helpful last minute words of advice. So thank you again, Joe and Scott, for your insights and for DuraBante's support of this conference training series. Thank you all for joining us. And as Joe and Scott have said, your preparation now will make all the difference on site at VETS. So we look forward to seeing you all next week in New Orleans. For any additional information, be sure to check out nvsbc.org and the VETS conference website as well. Lots of good information for everyone on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.